Our Jennifer Dowling is ready to go now after taking a well-deserved break and sort of repositioning. So Jen, if you can hear me, tell me, where are you and what do you see here as we approach 9 o'clock here in Portland?
Hey, this is Lynn at Southwest First. They've got the van set up and they're probably taking a breather too themselves just because it's been a long night for everyone. Yesterday night and early this morning and now tonight as they follow those crowds around. This is right near the Rose Hotel. We haven't seen any groups pass through here recently, but they are all broken up. We can see a group of 5 heading our way. That's probably what police have been trying to do, is to separate these groups all night, get them into a position where they could have some sort of control over them, because last night we saw large crowds and everything got out of control, and it was hard to shut down once it got rolling. So tonight what we saw was around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, actually closer towards 6, they dispersed those devices such as gas canisters and flashbangs and flash grenades, trying to clear people out so that they are in these small groups so that they're easier to manage. Because we were down in Old Town Chinatown just about an hour ago, we saw them all coalescing into the building canyons, and that's when things started happening. A lot of tagging, a lot of destructive behavior that way. We didn't see any windows break, but we did hear people try to do so. They were testing the windows of Big Pink Bank building. So you can see that there's some people that just walked by me. That's part of this larger group that's roving around. I believe they would like to be together in one large group, but it's easier for them to avoid police contact if they stay apart. We had some information that they might be heading back to the Justice Center, but that has been heavily fortified. A lot of police are keeping that clear. They've got a line around the Justice Center. They surround it with fence, although the fence isn't the strongest fencing. It provides a barrier to keep people out. And we've seen police standing on the steps on the landing there of the center all day, protecting it, because that's a hot spot. There's been police precincts that have been targeted all over the country, and those are the places that people want to destroy. And last night we saw that in the Justice Center with people going inside and throwing furniture and lighting a fire, as police reported, although it doesn't look like it burned very much of the building, but still a scary situation. So they've really got that on lockdown. So out here I think I see police taking a breath, getting their uniforms on and preparing to make the rounds, maybe relieving other crews, because we've seen these units circling around town all day. And Lieutenant Tina Jones told us this morning that the police were not messing around. She said, today is different. It's not going to be like it was last night. We're not going to let this happen. And they have more tools in their tool belt. Mayor Ted Wheeler did declare a state of emergency and put a curfew into effect that started at 8 o'clock an hour ago. So they can make arrests because of that. There is a curfew in effect for people who are not essential, like emergency responders. The journalists are allowed to be out, and there's some people that can be out if they are having an emergency. But otherwise, these people that we see just walking around are not supposed to be out right now. I do see a group on the waterfront, Mike. They might be coming this way, they might not be. But that's about the size of the groups that we're seeing. Very small like that, a handful having been broken up. I know Lindsay's with a larger group. That may be the largest one in town. But where we are near the waterfront, that's what we're seeing. You're wondering if people were down on the waterfront. Mike So and I, my photographer, did see some people on the bridges, but they weren't taking over the bridges. They were just on the pedestrian walkway with signs. And here we have the police officers moving out, doing their, making their way around. Gave me a wave there. They probably have a long night ahead, because they're probably going to have to be staffed throughout the night because of what happened last night. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to put in some long hours to try to make sure that the city doesn't get destroyed more than it already has been. It was a pretty destructive night. Business owners have a lot of property damage to contend with, and individuals as well. We saw a car on fire, trash fires and other things, so it would be easy for someone's individual property to have gotten destroyed last night during all that chaos. I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, Jen, I know you've been out there close to 2 hours now. We've been on the air live, and at this point it does seem like some of those crowds, at least from the pictures that you're showing us, are a little smaller. Do you feel like the crowds have dispersed? Are there people that have left the downtown area, or do you feel that these these groups are all just in real small groups now throughout the downtown core?
I think that they're just in very small groups throughout the downtown core, except for the group that maybe Lindsay is following. It does not mean that they won't come together, though. A lot of times these groups tend to find one another and somehow, come together in a large group, and then that's when things get a little crazy. So, they're in small groups now. If they got together, that wouldn't surprise me. But they'd have to find each other. Also, I'm not sure what police are doing in the meantime. Maybe there's some things going on that I can't see. Maybe they're actually citing people. It's a $500 ticket if you're caught out beyond the 8 o'clock curfew. So there is that possibility that people could be cited for that. And that's a big chunk of change. I don't know who has $500 laying around that they'd like to fork over for some type of citation. So that's could be somewhat of a deterrent. And maybe some things are happening that we can't see like that. Maybe they're enforcing it in that way with some of these smaller groups. So we'll keep an eye out to try to see exactly how they're enforcing this, or if people are just naturally breaking up on their own. Maybe they're running out of gas too. They've been marching for quite some time.
Yeah, you've been marching for quite some time. All we've heard officially from the police department is one arrest at this point. Although, that was quite a while ago, and a lot of things have probably happened since that point. But yeah, Jennifer's been out there walking miles and miles.